Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series kicking off once again here tonight. Folks, we'll jump right to it here. My name is William Tiller. I am joined by Dean Hopton in the Steve Young Benefit 170. This is the last race before the All-Star break as we get ready for the drop of the green flag. The field heads down the backstretch. Let's check out that top 10. We have the Animal, Keith Bradley, Ted Wade, Blake Bothy, Justin ready for the drop of the green flag. Zach Hartwig, Taylor Steve, check out Buck Whittington, Robbie Richards as our top 10 as the pace car pulls off. It's going to be the Animal taking us to the drop of the green flag here as we're going to keep it rolling for just a little while. I'll bring in my colleague, Mr. Dean Hopton. And Dean, we're on the broadcast here as the field is rumbling into the corner.
Yeah,
we'll get it going here.
We should be getting ready to go green. Get that pace car in there. Let's get racing here. 170 laps of some fantastic fun for the Steve Young Benefit 170. Green, green, green. Come on, get in there, pace car. We want to go racing, don't we?
Oh, absolutely, Dean. We're going to get this rocking and rolling. Stage number 1 is going to be 50 laps. Stage number 2, 105. End of the race, 170 here at Lucas Oil. Keith Bradley, Ted Wade, Blake Lothian, all up there. They're all ready to get things rolling here tonight. Keith Bradley leads them to the drop of the green flag, and we're racing here in the Steve Young Benefit 170 as the field goes 3 wide into 1 and 2, wasting no time as Ted Wade on the top side, Keith Bradley in the middle, down the backstretch they go into 3 and 4.
And taking the high line and getting a great exit boost speed at the moment. And somebody went down in the inside apron. Look in the background there. So 3 wide and the front 3 was fantastic. Actually built up a little bit of a gap already. So that's fantastic. Further back in the field, you're getting a more bunching up there, exploring the barriers of this track on cold tires.
Getting it going here. You want to keep that in mind at a short track. Those cold tires, you don't want to get too loose too early. Ted Wade still in that second spot. Keith Bradley leading the way. The Animal has been one of the top drivers here at Nazareth the past few months. Right now, leading the way early on in this race. You want to settle in this pace. Ted Wade right there. Blake Lothian as well. Blake Lothian, one of those top racers as well, Dean. But you also see that 12 machine creeping up there of Zach Hartwick as he's battling out with Ed Osborne for that spot.
Yeah, just getting the overtake done there, battling up Ed. Ed's trying to take that one back, further back in the field there. We've had a few other drivers, and we've got a caution, caution, caution. I have to say, we go back on that one. This is probably a Joey, my friend. What's happened here?
Yeah, that's Joe Doucette. That's the Joker in the 16 machine. We'll see what happens here.
Oh, too much power out of that in the cold tires. And right in front of Barney, my friend, right almost in the start-finish line. He will get the first caution of the evening.
And that's exactly what you're talking about, Dean. Those cold tires, you don't want to give it too much juice when you come out of those corners. Too much of that juice will get that tail wagging just a little bit. But now we get a chance to actually settle into this broadcast here at Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. One more race remains before the All-Star break, which is next weekend. And Dean, I get to properly introduce you now to this Friday night series. You're joining me in absence of Mr. Jake Reeves here tonight. Dean, welcome into the series. I know you're going to love this series with how competitive it is with Keith Bradley and all these names that you're going to call out here. What do you expect? I know you said you'd never seen this track before. What do you expect, though, in these trucks?
Well, I mean, like anything, it's going to come down to your strategy. It's going to come down to nursing your car, right? Take care of it. You know, I always say take your car out to a nice dinner there, buy it some flowers if you have to. Just treat her kindly, or him, whatever you want to call your truck at the end of the day. And then not be too greedy on that loud pedal there and see how it pans out. Because you don't win the race, my friend, on the first few laps. You win it on the dying laps of a race. So that will be the key. And everybody out there in the chat, welcome. There might be some issues there with the right stream at the right time at the right place, but we are here at the right track for the Steve Young Benefit 170, and once again we had our first caution There, Will. I'm once again fairly new to the truck series, so you'll have to bear with me, but I do have an expert like yourself in here. Maybe in a Formula 1 car or other series, open wheel racing cars, or even the old Australian V8 supercars. I know a little bit about them, but these are different beasts. And oval racing is a different game strategy at play.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you're going to see here tonight, Dean, you're going to see that strategy aspect that you see in that open wheel world of yours, the F1, the IndyCar racing styles. But you're also going to see a little bit of that, what we like to call on this side of the pond, a little bit of that beating and banging on the trucks. These trucks can take some damage. You're going to see them sort of use those fenders to get around one another, try to get to the low side of the racetrack, try to get as close to one another as possible. I know in the open wheel series, you want to try to calculate those moves. You can dive bomb into these corners here in these trucks to try to get around somebody. Here at a short track, you're going to see guys also brush on that top side wall, maintain speed. So I'm curious to see, though, Dean, how many cautions we do get, seeing as though it's early in this race. We already have one so far.
Exactly, and the one so far was just a self-incident, and it's just amazing to me, like when I do look at the ovals, because we are in a racing simulator, of course. iRacing does a fantastic job and simulates this as much as possible. Somebody's even mentioned it the other day, going back to the Formula 1, saying that the reason why they feel that Max Verstappen is dominating the season so much is because Max spends a lot of time in the racing simulators, and he's even admitted that it's helping him with his performance. So even if you aren't racing in real life, but at the moment we will go green racing, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later. Keith is in the lead there from Ted Wade on the inside, 32 machine versus the 29.
Keith Bradley, the animal, Ted Wade, Blake Lothian up there, Justin White as well, as Keith Bradley, the animal, roars that field into 1 and 2. Great restart out of that 29 as he clears the field off of 2. Coming down the backstretch now, Ted Wade's clear in that second spot as well, with a side-by-side battle into 3 and 4. Blake Lothian on the inside of the 2 machine. Justin White now he'll clear for 3rd as we're 1 lap under green, heading back into 1.
And this is all about getting those tires back up in the temperature and feeling the car there, just letting it slide. You said he's going to get their elbows out in these trucks. They can handle a little bit of punishment, a certain level of punishment, no doubt. More than anything, you're going to be battling for your tires at this point. What's happened up the front there?
Oh, we have a truck sideways on the racetrack there. We watched it live here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. That's Robbie Richards in that 48, rocking a new paint scheme in this race. Dean, and I saw him get sideways. He saved it, and then he just couldn't maintain. Oh, man, that's a shame early in this race. You see him save it here, Dean, and then he gets a little help there, a nudge in the backside.
That's all it takes. He's facing the wrong direction. Alexa stays there. Of course, it doesn't want to get spinning that one around there to destroy anybody else's race. And it ain't over yet, certainly earlier in this field there. So there it is. Second caution, and it's just, once again, a solo car really incident. And I was getting back to this point before there, partner, that we do mimic the real racing conditions, of course, and no doubt they would call a caution for that in real life because, it is, if there's bits of debris over the track there or they feel that car could be causing a collision with anybody else later on. But in the virtual world, I say if you have a bit of a spin at the back there and you're not going to cause an accident, green, green, green. But it is what it is, partner. It is what it is.
Absolutely, and if it wasn't for that little extra help there at the end, I think Robbie Richards probably would have saved that truck. We would have stayed under green there. As we look at the 16 machine, Joey Doucette down pit road. Saw him involved in that early caution, maybe just repairing some stuff down there. A long way to go here in this race. Does have some time to maintain. Joey Doucette here in this series been doing pretty good. Have to remember though, Dean, in our Monday night series, it is the playoff races. We only have a couple races remaining in round number 1, so some of these drivers maybe just thinking in the future, as they like to say, you overthink your opponent at the table to the bigger opponent down the road. Some of these drivers could be thinking about that, and that could open the door for some surprise names to win this race.
Anything is possible in oval racing. That's the thing I love about the difference here between this and regular tracks, track racing. Track racing, you know, you get a car up the road there and it's up the road by 30 seconds. That's it, practically. It's almost just game over for the rest of the field unless that driver makes a mistake. But when you have all these cautions, you have the cars bunched up and they're so close together and they're so equally performed to the setups and everything, that is what makes this a fantastic racing, and this will be a fantastic racing league. Just to elaborate, we've got a couple of people in the chat. Hello, Bobby. Robbie Dive Bomb Richards. Well, that's it. And then Bill the Mansol says, yeah, there we go. Yeah, but real quick there, Will, like, how's that standing situation? Because unfortunately we were a little bit late there getting that up there, but standings overall at the moment, what's happening in the top 10?
Coming in the top 10 here in this series. It's been a wide open series so far, and we'll take a look at them. And coming off of that big win from Brady LaBeouf and Talladega, Keith Riley, that animal that you see at the top of the grid here, he still holds the top of the point standings right now with 3 wins, 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s. Jeff Merck up there. I'm not seeing the 60 machine at tonight's event. We also have Justin White, Adam Newton. Justin Lumpkin is the top 5 in the points, but currently it will be the animal himself on the top side of the racetrack. Ted Wade, Blake Lothian, Justin White, Ed Osborne, Adam Newton, Zach Hartwig, Taylor Peacock, Jacob Klinkart, Huck Whittington as the field goes roaring into 1 and 2. Keith Bradley with another great restart here at this short track. The 29 machine comes off of 2. Ted Wade clear in second. Blake Lothian in third as a battle for fourth rages on as Adam Newton looks to the inside of the 2 of Justin White. There they go, Dean. 1, 2, 3, 4 across the start-finish line.
Yeah, absolutely great. That fantastic launch again from Keith Bradley. Just gets it timed perfectly. I guess he has the advantage of getting that green indication a little bit further than everybody else up the road. So that's how it's going to pan out. A little bit further back, you got Ed and Zach battling it out here. That is, you're looking at the 12 and 42 machine. Nobody going 3 abreast that we saw at the start of the race. Further back, we do have other battles occurring, of course, here between the 26-13 and the 20. And you can see they're going to go side by side. That's Michael McKillen. And he likes to lift off a little bit. That inside apron, I'd have to say, though, Will, is scrubbing a lot of speed here. It looks like the outside wall is a quicker path to go.
It is, Dean. That outside path is the fastest one, but you run the risk when you come off those corners of scraping that wall. And as mentioned, these trucks can take some damage, but you don't want to accumulate too much. You don't want to cause that ricochet effect where you come sliding off of that top side. You make other contact. As we watch the 85 machine of Philip Pappas right there, he's in a battle back here on this grid. We see Chris Cinnamon in that 3, Ashley Dotson in that 88, and the 61 machine of Gregory. This is a hornet's nest, Dean. These are all guys that are hungry to get inside the top 10, top 5, maybe a little frustrated with how they qualify.
Yeah, you got to make your way up to the qualification. I would just say get your heads down and get on with it. We're at 21 of 170, so we've got plenty of laps to go. 149 to be correct. So once again, you ain't going to win on this lap. We're riding the board currently shotgun with Chris and the Canadian driver. In fact, the sole Canadian driver on the track. It's got Ashley Dodgson just a little bit behind him at the moment. The rest is all here from the United States of America. Here in the United States of America, it's a classic track. As you said, short track, mate. You essentially have not much time to turn straight. The rest of it's all lefts.
It is. It's one of those tracks, Dean, where you don't have much time to think. The moves are going to be right in front of you. You're going to try to make a pass. If you fail one corner, you're going to try to maintain through the next. You're going to stay on the wheel throughout the entire race. You touched on it, cold tires, when that starts to come into effect. And then old tires is going to be something these drivers are going to be watching out for, as well as we're 24 laps into stage number 1, just about halfway through the stage. We have a few cautions already. And I'm looking for, there's a 61 loose. That's Gregory, as we were just talking about tires once again. And it looked like he got loose all by himself.
Yeah, that's another loosey goosey. Was that a turn 4? Apologies once again. I don't know the turn specifically in this track, but you probably elect to know that one. You see he's tucked in behind the 17 and then goes. Yes, he gets so much exit speed.
Turn 2.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, not much speed, and it doesn't look like there was any contact. He was all by himself there. 61, we were just watching that battle he was having with C.O.P.S not too long ago, and good news for that 61 machine. Dean, doesn't look like he occurred any damage to that truck, so he's still moving and grooving.
Yeah, moving and grooving is the best way you want to be going and flowing. But 16, unfortunately, my friend Joey's still sitting in pit road for essentially 11 minutes and change now. And just to clarify there, Will, they got fast repairs or not?
They do not, Dean. That's one of my favorite rules here in Nazareth. No fast repairs for the drivers in the field.
Big boys club then, isn't it? So
yeah.
None of those cheat codes available out to the drivers. You ding that baby up, you better call a good panel beater.
That's it. And I think we're at the point in the season 2, Dean, where the fun's been had. I think we're at the All-Star break in the season. You've kind of invested enough at this point where you're kind of in it, so to say. Can't really back out at this point. So this is where you start to really settle in. You get things moving. You can't really, those cheat codes and all the fun that you had maybe with the fast repairs and other leagues, here in this series, you need to really calculate more strategically throughout what you're going to do.
These drivers at the moment going to be electing to go into that pit road. Any idea why they just jumped in there? Is that just a splash and dash?
That's an interesting call to me about why some of those drivers headed down there. I'm looking at the grid here. Some of those guys down did sustain some damage there. Not too much damage. I'm interested to see, as you see Michael McKinnon there in that 13.
Oh, is it 6
Jose
second
Luis Rivera
pit
in the
stop?
20.
So they haven't repaired anything in 6 seconds. This is drive-through? I'm stop and go, so I don't see any penalties being distributed.
Yeah, for those guys.
Anybody in the chat, let us know. I'm reading the chat. Don't you worry about that. Mr. Dean Biggles has you all covered out there because I like to have my eyes and everything. I've got 5 or 6 screens. Don't worry about it. I can catch all the action as much as possible. We see that pace car many times at the moment. We've seen Keith, fantastic launches there from Keith Bradley. She said the man, there's a reason why he's leading the championship at this point there. He's got Ted keeping him company. Adam Newton, you'd have to say, is not too bad there for that 82 livery. He's gained 2 places in this one. More than anything, get back in the field here. Little Jeffrey, you always got to keep an eye out on these drivers that make a lot of gains. 10 positions now for the 60 machine. And every single time there's a caution on one of these little moments, he gains a few more. Silent but violent, they say. In a polite way, there he is. He's not a violent driver.
No, Dean, I think you hit it right on the head there, because Jeff Merck works in that fashion. He is silent but deadly in these races. I didn't even know he was in this field. Now he's creeping up 10 spots already, the halfway point of stage number 1. He's one of those dogs to watch out for here in this series. Maybe not the best qualifier, but he's going to be in this race towards the end as the field once again takes the green flag into 1. No change at the top, though. Keith Bradley still leading the way. Another great restart here as we're counting down the laps in stage number 2. 21 laps to go as Keith Bradley now single file on the top side takes Ted Wade. And now Blake looking at that 43 truck. He'll tag along in that 3rd spot. Keith Bradley off of 4. Green for 1 lap into 1.
Yeah, and once again, a little bit better. That's a race control start there from Ted. He managed to catch him sleeping, Keith, actually, one time. But further back, we're going to start to see this 2 abreast field forming up there. You've got Taylor here on the back there of Jacob. You've got Zachary behind him, Jeff Merck as well. Some of them will start dancing with the ball. The 81's definitely dancing with the ball. And I'm not quite sure. It takes 2 to tango, my friend. And you can see the paint damage on the side there. But still, pointing in the right direction is a good thing. A few other drivers are actually dancing at the wall. I think that's Jeff Merck up the road. And be cautious, my friends. Be cautious, but also push it to the limit. Why not? It's motor racing. We are here for the C.O.P.S Truck Series. Let's go. Come on. Green, green, green. So push it to the limit. How does it matter?
Absolutely. It's Jeff Merck to the inside of the 42 machine of Ed Osborne here on lap 33. Coming off of the corner, you see Jeff Merck. You touched on Dean. He's climbing up the grid, trying to eat up another spot here. Maybe a little 2-for-1 action as yes, Jacob Klinkert in that 5 in his sights as well. He'll stay to the inside. He'll look to the inside as we Ashley Dodson sideways down the front stretch. We saw that live once again, Dean. Look at that camera work as the 88, no, that's the 12, is also spun on the front stretch.
I have the knack at the moment, so I do apologize, but some people say the commentator's curse doesn't exist, but it does. When it comes to me, I always manage to get the camera in the right place at the right time. Well, for the drivers, unfortunately, the wrong place. And let's have a look what happens to Zachary here at the moment, my friend.
Yeah, that's the 12 of Zach Hartwick. Look like the similar paint job to the 88 Ashley Dodson. We'll watch here if it's the same thing, Dean, that we've seen so far. It is, same thing.
Carbon copy. So Barney literally has the best spot in town. Like, get your fold-out chairs and sit right there if you want to see the action. Why is it specifically, as a racing driver, everybody else there in the chat is a racing driver, why is it that they're having a struggle with that one? We'll see if we can actually ride on board there at a replay real quick, because I'm curious to see. We'll actually go into the driver's eyes as we will just have a look at that. Now, I think it's just a snappy look at the revs. 5,000. He's pointing it to the left here. There? Snap just like that. You wouldn't even know it. That's crazy. That's so. Yeah. You're on the fine line, aren't you? You absolutely live it there.
Absolutely, Dean. And some people get the false assumption that they look at a short track and think, oh, this is an easy one. No high banks, I can get around these corners. Maybe I have to, bump a little bit to get around. They lose sight of the fact that it's that deceleration, acceleration out of the corner. You have to decelerate going into 1 and 2. Of course, your speeds are going to low. Those RPMs are going to be low. But, Dean, we just watched it there. It's hitting that point of exiting the corner in a manner that, one, you're going to gain speed on exit, but also in a manner that you're going to be able to save that truck. And we watched it right there. Just the slightest bit of over acceleration exiting the corner just puts you sideways.
Let's have a look. It's just like, at that point, you're going to lose it. You're a little bit slight overcorrection. It ain't going to do too much because it's momentum out of the corner, isn't it? Unless you're putting that thing straight. He's on the brakes. He realizes the fence is approaching closely. In fact, if anything, he'd be like, well, this is the best place to do donuts if we're going to win the race. But unfortunately, at that point, you're not winning the race just yet. But don't count out the number 12 machine. As Bill said, what you did to the number 12 machine, it's not my fault. It's my first time. Don't you worry about it. Bill's going to find his way back. And he will. But so far, Keith is finding his way still in the lead of this race. And in fact, if anything, the pace car has probably led this race more than anybody else have so far. Under the greens. Barney. I feel for Barney, mate. Waving that right arm. Must be so strong.
Definitely getting a workout here tonight, Dean. And no change at the top of the grid through all the cautions we've had, all the changing in positions. What's really stood out to me is the restarts of the 29 machine of Keith Bradley. He's really rocketed through that. With working with those cold tires, not warmed up yet. You got to think about that as well. He just launches every single time, and I think that launch is only going to get better throughout this race.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, and he's been doing it multiple times. But you also got to remember that last restart, I'd have to say you give it to Ted. He's starting to catch up on that. He's starting to get a little bit of a feel there where Keith is hitting that loud pedal. Let's see if he does it again right now. We should go green in a second.
Here we go. Let's try this once again, folks. Watching along with us here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Myself, William Tiller, Dean Hopton, but it is Keith Bradley in the 29, Ted Wade in that 32. Green flag is in the air as the animal takes us into 1 and 2. Ted Wade is in second. Adam Newton is in that third spot. He feels the pressure out of the 43 truck of Blake Lothian, who is now to the inside as we come down that backstretch. Keith Bradley at 29 is now tangoing with the 32 machine. Will ride on board there with Adam Newton in the 82 as Ted Wade looks at an opportunity to go to the inside. 1 lap under green into 1 and 2.
Let's see what he can do. Look at that power slide. He's going to get a great exit speed at the moment. 29's going to shut the door at him right now. And for the Indy Race Parts machine, Keith is very, very cautious to make sure he's going to make it very difficult for Ted Wade to get himself around there. And we we're talking about this a little bit before there, my friend. But look where Jeffrey is for the 60 machine. He's about to make his way up. 14 positions gained. I told you that 60 machine is definitely silent and dangerous, and he's working even his way up to P4 even right now on 42 of 170.
And I think, you know, Dean, I don't want to call it, but I think this is a vengeance race for the 60. I think the past couple weeks, although his finishes have been great, it's been rocky. The races haven't been races that he really wants to have. I think here tonight he's trying to get to the top of the grid. He's trying to check out on the rest of the field. You see his driving right now already in this race up 14 spots from the drop of the green flag up to 5th. So he's definitely feeling something in the cockpit of that 60 here tonight as he looks to the inside of Blake Lothian, that 43 truck. He is working with some mojo, some newfound confidence, something, Dean. It's got that 60 moving through this field.
Yeah, you see, you get a little bit of like, it will drop the speed, but this is where you get a little bit of entry speed. It'll scrub a bit off as you go closer into the apron. But now the exit gets the power down, be comfortable. The rear end's not going to wheel. It's going to be a great side-by-side. They'll get a little bit of side drafting. And will he tuck it ahead of the 43? Yes, he will. Make that number 15 positions gain for Jeffrey 60 machine.
60 is one of those to watch out for, one of the top contenders in this series. There's the 88 of Ashley Dodson back there with Michael McKinnon in that 13. Michael McKinnon, you see a little bit of damage on that truck here tonight. And these spots, as you mentioned, Dean, they're still racing it out. They still have a shot in this race. These are positions 16th, 17th, and 18th back here for Alan Meza in that 37 machine. And you know, some of these guys, they could just be lingering, Dean. Maybe just playing coy, waiting for those opportunities, waiting for all those cautions to sort of get flushed out, or maybe learning something from this first stage.
Yeah, well, it is always learning when you're driving, aren't you? I mean, the practice makes perfect. The 88 machine, the only Australian, that's Ashley Dodson. Yeah, Thunder from down under, I would call you, my friend. You got the Aussie spirits here. You got your Vegemite packed in the back of that trunk. You're about to go a picnic. Well, your picnic, mate, we'll get that later on because you're down there in P18 and dropped a couple of places.
As we have a truck bouncing off the inside wall, that's Huck Whittington in that 00. Sorry about that, Dean.
You're
I just saw him all of a sudden smack that wall.
We got to try to find out what that gentleman is. There he is. There's Huck. Oh, Huck, don't muck up your truck, Huck. But it is very dinged up at the moment. We have a caution, and I think that's actually somebody else's Robert that's going around. Robert. Oh, and then the 13 collects him. Unlucky for some. Unlucky for you there, Robert, unfortunately. And there it is. So that's Michael that's managed to go into it. Let's have a look at what has happened here under another caution, and it'll be our third caution here this evening. First of all, we'll have a look at what happened to Robert Richards. This is what we just probably witnessed, wasn't it? That was probably a tap, or as the AK sometimes say, net code. And everybody avoids him, apart from the 13 at that point.
Oh.
But I have to say, that's not too bad. And the good thing for the driver, too, of Robert, he stayed there and didn't move. And that's a good sign of respective drivers that you're going to have here at the fantastic racing league, the Nazra. I'll get it right at one point, but don't worry.
And Dean, I think that's going to bring an end to the stage with Keith Bradley getting the stage win, as we are seeing drivers head down pit road here in this stage break. The whole rundown now is a little jumbled up with everybody heading down pit road, but definitely Keith Bradley with the stage win. I know Ted Wade took that second spot, but it is interesting to see here, Dean, that some of these drivers stayed out, some of these drivers down pit road. So a mix of strategies already early in this race.
And do they, yeah, just curious once again, I apologize for being a noob, but yeah, you got to take new people under your wing. You're talking about, yeah, do they need to box for fuel or tires? I mean, tires and fuel, like, just saying, why are some of these drivers electing to box apart from the ones that have massive damage, as you can see? But yeah, just to elaborate for me, please. And anybody else is tuning in, we do appreciate you tuning in as well, too.
Yeah, with those stage wins, you get those bonus points, playoff points that you can carry through to the rest of the series. Of course, that first guy gets the most, and that goes down to the top 10. So 10 positions pay those playoff points. And your question to why some drivers would pit here, some drivers would stay out. I think drivers are experiment with that window. You know, we're looking at 170 laps here tonight. Stage number 2 is going to come around 105. So I'm thinking here, Dean, some drivers are probably planning on another caution, probably planning on heading down here during this run, just working through it, while these other guys, though, are playing that, the shorter game, that you pit now, you kind of pit with everything else, kind of move through that. So I think it's a little bit of an experimentation that we're seeing early on.
Bill at the moment was asking about, can you flash to the 27? So we're going to have a look at the 27's perspective in that incident that was caused just before. And there you go, Bill. Your wish is our command. And we shall watch this, probably even if we can from on board. Let's have a look what the driver could have done when the incident occurred up the road there. You'll see the car going loosey-goosey, and Will goes, where do I go? Bang, nowhere to go. Unfortunately, nothing wrong with that, just wrong place, wrong time, and there it is. Sorry about bringing up that reminiscent there, Bill, but you asked for it out there. We deliver in the chat because we're entertainers and we like to entertain the drivers, the ones, but really they're the ones on the stage, aren't they, doing all the hard work?
Absolutely. Here in the Steve Young benefit 170 again, it's myself, William Tiller, joined up here by a newcomer in the series, folks. If you've been watching here every Friday night, this is Mr. Dean Hopton, comes in with a lot of experience, gonna be working with us here, taking the place of Mr. Jake Reeves for the next couple weeks, as Jake Reeves is on vacation. But right now we are working, we are moving, we are having a great time here on Friday night as Adam Newton, Keith Bradley, Blake Lothian, Justin White, Jacob Klinkart, Taylor Peacock, Chris Cinnamon, and Kyle Hess, Phil Pappas, Raul Meza take us across the start-finish line as Keith Bradley at 29. Great restart once again, takes us around 1 and 2. Adam Newton in the 82 separates by himself. Blake Lothian, that 43 truck is now to the side of the 2 machine of Justin White. He gets a weird push, though, out of the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkart as the 43 truck is now up to third. Things get very chippy a little bit here on this run into 1 and 2.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. We'll see if we can run on board one of the drivers that get a bird's eye perspective there. A driver's perspective. We're riding shotgun right now with Chris. The 17 positions gained there for the Canadian driver driving that Ford number 3 truck, and you can see, you gotta think, well, is the middle open there a little bit? Can I get in there? No, they're gonna close the door. He's gonna sit there, he's gonna get on the power. Now he's gonna have to tuck in behind and please fund childhood. And we have another caution. I couldn't read the rest of that one there. Childhood cancer, I no doubt there, because we're all about the community here. And what has happened? Well, I will show you what has happened, and it looks like Jeff has had a little bit of an incident. We'll go back to the replay and let's have a look. This is a little bit further back, about 25th position, I think, of the incidents. And is this a?
No.
Yep. This is. Oh. And he's oversteered it, I guess, to correct it, and he's almost probably would have perfectly landed right on where Barney's been sitting the whole night, seeing everybody have a spinaroo.
And that's tough right there for the 60, Dean. We saw Jeff working up through the grid, and he must have headed down pit road there.
It's tapped bang there as well too. The other driver, of course, coming back, and this is the case of Huck.
Working on those cold tires, just as you mentioned, Dean. I think that's going to be a common theme. He headed down pit road there. He was part of that group that we were wondering why some drivers headed down, some drivers stayed out. He was part of that group, and we can see what the effect was there. Man, just so close to saving it. I think with the damage to the front end, he's not going to be playing a little bit of catch-up here.
It's difficult because it's a snap. We're going to have a look at this, and we'll probably focus a little bit more in slow. So we're going to ride on board with Jeff. And, that's the wrong button I want to hit. That's definitely the wrong button I want to hit. Apologies once again. Work with this one for a second. Once again, I'm new to this truck series, but what we're going to do is go to quarter speed here. We're going to go right on board. Now, you know that look at the steering angle at the moment. So he's almost about 5,500 RPM. He's on the inside apron. Remember, he's on cold tires because we've just gone green. See the overcorrection massively as he feels the car's rear end go out. He's massively overcorrecting it here. Swinging the steering around, trying to get it straight. You can see how the steering is trying to straighten it up. And then at the moment, that's it. That's when the rear end just disagrees with you. It's like basically coming home late from being at a bar with your buddies and the missus is waiting at the front door going, "Where were you? Where were you?" Well, unfortunately, that's exactly where this gentleman was. And the car's gone around.
I love it there, Dean. You don't want to make the wife mad. You don't want to show up uninvited. And I think for the 60 machine, the looseness and how cold those tires were very uninvited. And he didn't like that in that corner. And especially for the 00 of Huck Whittington, the contact was definitely uninvited. As we see now, same mix of those drivers that have some damage in this race. You see the 13 machine of Michael McKinnon down pit road. Jeff Merck down pit road as well. You
Joey's still in there, my friend.
Adam Johnson.
For 30 minutes there, Joey's just been panel batting that thing. They're trying to get Joey's 16 machine out there. They're working like crazy. And you know what? Maybe they get it done by the end of the race. But Jeffrey's gone in and out. Zachary's gone in and out. Adam should be in and out a second. And the other drivers that make way around there will still be Keith in the lead of this race. But now in the P2 we have Adam Newton. He's the newcomer around town there for the 82 machine. Chris has now got the biggest, like, I've got 17 positions gained next to my name. Where's the Thunder from down under? Oh, Ashley back up the same positions he started this race in. So Ashley's going to always have a little bit of Aussie love out there from the casting box here. And the caution should end here for the C.O.P.S Truck Series. Steve Young, benefit 170. And guess what? We are getting through the 170 laps. And now we're going to get another green flag. Keith has to do that same job Keith has been doing so well during the whole race, is that launch control. Bang! Out of the gate. There he goes.
Yeah, perfect restart once again out of that 29. Adam Newton right there in second. He's been up there with the 29. He hasn't faded much at all in this race. Blake Lothian in that 43 truck. Jacob Klinkart in the 5. Better watch out for him here in this race. He's to the inside of the 2 machine. Justin Whiter, as things get very tight off of 4. Across that start and finish line. 64 laps into this race. Still watching that battle for 4th though, Dean. Coming off of 2. They keep getting close to one another off that corner.
That's what we like to see, but it's motor racing. Further back, there's plenty of racing going through the midfield there, so apologies if we haven't seen a lot of that because we only have one camera, one place, one time, and we still have the battle there of Jacob going Blake. And that's Jacob looking at the number 5 machine, gaining 10 positions. 43 machines on the outside wall, and a few of them have been brushing that wall, my friend, scraping that wall, getting the Sharpie out there and signing the autographs, perhaps.
Yeah, and you touched on it. That topside wall, the topside lane does have a lot of speed. And you see Blake Lothian in that 43 truck. He has speed running up there. But you run into the chance of getting acquainted with the topside wall, if you will. You know, you don't want to get to know him too much. You just want to say, hey, how you doing as you're going by. You don't want to take him out to eat or anything, as the 43 truck sliding down the racetrack just a little bit, trying to find that middle groove here at Lucas Oil. Jacob Klinkart, though, gets a little loose there on the inside. And Dean, to your point, what I've been noticing is the inside lane, these drivers, that's where they're getting loose the most.
You're absolutely right. The inside is actually very, very dangerous territory, but also going to be less of punishing of your tyres further back to the field here. Here is a bit of a switcheroo. So you have Jose Luis Rivera, you got Stephen Thomas, and once again, you get the Thunder from down under. A little bit of Michael lurking in the background. You can see a couple of drivers. We're not seeing that 3 abreast that we saw at the very start of the race, which I thought was bold and brave. But then again, they're the Centurions on this arena, my friend. We're sitting up in the air-conditioned casting box looking at, wondering, what are they doing? They're the ones that get paid to be boss.
Exactly, as Ashley Dawson to the inside of the 23 machine of Stephen Thomas there. And we're watching this race play out. It's pretty early here in stage number 2. you're already watching some guys fade. You know, the 32 machine of Ted Wade, wondering how his race has gone south here. You see him right on your screen. He's down 10 spots since the drop of the green flag. He was on that front row, Dean. Now finds himself in this hornet's nest of drivers as the caution flag flies once again.
And it has been caused by Adam, or at least Adam was involved. I won't put Adam to blame yet until we get the pictures up on the screen here. And so let's have a look at Adam. All by himself, the 13 machine, trying to catch the rest of the pack. And he's just like, you know, too much. Yeah, there it is. And guess where he's going to park that car essentially? Right in the number 1 spot. Gets a tow back to pit road very quickly because unfortunately, unless you can jump the fence, you got a long, not really a long way around, but you will have a way around. Ashley goes in, Chris goes in. Interesting pit stops between these two drivers. Like, what's up? Chris got so much damage on that car. Doesn't seem to make too much sense. No, that's just because the car's lifted up there for the old tire ruse. The 4 important key parts to keep your car to the track are the tires.
Interesting there to see Chris Cinnamon down there. And it looks like Michael McKinnon, you saw him there in that 13 machine. He's up to 11th right there. And some other guys have already, we have some guys that are already a bunch of lap down. Stephen Gregory, Jeff Sickles, Adam Johnson there in that 27 machine. So some guys having rough goes already. And that 3 machine of Chris Cinnamon, we saw him up there battling Dean. He's now at the tail end of the pack. So it's sort of just a moving and shaking here, 60-something laps in, not to that second stage yet, so I wouldn't count out any of these drivers just yet.
No, I would not yet, because there's still plenty of racing to go. Thank you very much. Fuel load, how much is the question, of course, from Bobby out there. That's a question to you, my friend. I'm not a race driver, let alone ever driven a trucker car around this fantastic oval race. The information is a little bit incorrect on the description, so I do apologize about that one. We are here at Indianapolis, but we are here in the what's the track again called there, partner?
Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah, different Indiana track, not the Indianapolis 500 track that you would generally be on, but this is different, as you see, because short. I think everybody knows the Brickyard by now, hopefully.
Right. So this is the little sister track there, Lucas Oil Raceway, and fuel capacity you're looking at around 100%. So curious to see some drivers there pit in stage number 1. Stage number 2 is going to be around 105. So we'll get a great indication of what that window is truly like here as we watch drivers push it to the limit here, Dean. And I think that's an interesting thing we get to see in this race because usually how it goes is at the end of that first stage, drivers will head down pit road whether they need to or not. You know, you throw on a fresh set of tires, you know, fill up that fuel tank, you get rocking and rolling off of pit road. But in this race, in that first stage, we barely saw anybody head down. So it looks as though some of these drivers will push it to stage number 2 or close to it just to see how far of a run they can make.
Now it's time to go green again. That's the interesting thing about Ted down in P9 at the moment. He's been keeping Keith Bradley, who's been keeping this race in the lead of the whole time, essentially, there for the 29 machine. At the moment, he's got another great launch there. Adam in P2 there, and Jacob up 11 positions, the number 5 machine.
And you can see why Keith Bradley, 29 machine, is our current points leader. He eats up those checkered flags, why he has earned the moniker as the animal here at Nazareth. Adam Newton, though, he is electric the past few weeks. That DSR electric machine now inside of that podium position. That second spot for the 82. He's feeling the pressure, though, from the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkert as they come down the backstretch.
Yeah, he's Ted now. He is Ted. Here's the 32 machine on the 23. Reverse those numbers, reverse those positions, perhaps. And Ted wants it back. He's down 5. We're still not 100% sure why Ted dropped so many positions. There's so much action, maybe a little bit under those cautions, but he's going to look to make his position back there on Kyle there.
He headed down pit road, Dean. That knocked him down a bunch of spots. So one of those guys with Jeff Merck, who we saw have issues, that headed down around lap 51.
Oh, you are correct on that one. great to see Thomas in the background. The inside apron, that's very, very dangerous, Stevie. We've seen this before, like venturing down there. Different tracks, of course. Getting down the inside apron can also be the fantastic racing line. Not currently here on the alternative track here in Indianapolis. But further up, there it is. So Ted, I say, aka Teddy's going to make an inside run. He's going to gamble on the 32 machine. He's going to get it. If you get the exit speed there, be happy. The rear end's not slidey-guidey. It's not loosey-goosey. He is pretty confident. And that looks very much like it's Blake there in the 43. No, it's the number 2 machine, so it's Justin. Oh, they are got a little twirly in the rear end there. Starts to get loosey. Oh, and there's another caution.
Out. Caution is out as Ted Wade looks as though he snatched that position from Justin White in that 2 just as that caution flag flew. And we'll see what brings it out here. That's the 12 machine.
Let me guess where this is going to be. What do you reckon? What's your money on? Oh. What's your money on? What is your money on?
Oh.
At the same 4th corner exit. And it's a spinaroo. And in fact, every driver did a fantastic job of avoiding it. Barney once again goes, really, guys? In front of the grandstand on the main straightaway? Yes. And good save there from Zach. Great save from Zach. And he'll just drop a couple. You know, he was running a little bit at the back of the field anyway, so he won't lose too much. But more importantly, what's the other drivers going in the pit road? 86, we're going for Kyle.
Kyle Hess down pit road there in the 86 machine. We'll see what he elects to do here, but as we're under caution here, Dean, we'll take this opportunity to see who we can talk to here. Let's see if we can catch up with our stage number 1 winner, Keith Bradley, in that 29 machine out of Mission 1 Esports, and now joined by that 29 machine of Keith Bradley. And Keith, we have you had a good time here. Lots of caution flags early, but that hasn't phased you at all. You haven't moved from this spot since the drop of the green flag. How's your race going so far?
Pretty good. If we could just get in a rhythm, more in a rhythm than what we already are, I think we'll be even better. Pretty comfortable right now. It feels like I can really pull away and get a good gap and then just start pacing myself.
And Keith, we talk about this almost every week with you. You're on this hot streak. You're one of the best drivers out here at NASRA. But here tonight at a short track, is there any extra like motivation or confidence to go out here tonight, get this job done, take this checkered flag, go to Monday and work through those playoff races?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of. It's more of a no pressure kind of race. I mean, okay. I'm good at these short tracks, but it's more of a homecoming for me. This racetrack's in my backyard. I'm only about an hour south of IRP, and just want to notch my first win in my home state. It seems like any time we come to Indiana to race with NASRA, I don't end up finishing the race for unfortunate circumstances. So hopefully we can pull it off tonight.
Home cooking for our stage number 1 winner. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, sorry, Keith. I'm going to get in and jump in the interview at the moment here with you because I'm not really familiar with these trucks, but I'm familiar with your race starts as well. I see you warm up those tires a little bit there, partner. How are those when you go green? Are you worried about the rear end slipping out as they're cold? What's been the biggest thing or the biggest management's problem that you've had with this fantastic number 29 machine?
Honestly, I was kind of worried at first with the first restart with the old tires. I was worried about spinning them, but it actually ain't too bad. I'm just trying to manage them, trying not to push it too hard. Like I said, I try to get a little bit of a gap, and then I can start managing the tires better than what I'm already trying to manage them.
What's been the success of your race starts, like restarts? You've just been nailing most of them. I think there's only 1 point so far in those cautions that Ted probably kept up a little bit with you, but we'll get you get focused, of course, my friend, because I know you're going to get ready for another one of those fantastic restarts. Any final words?
Just thank you for doing what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Well, appreciate you, Keith. Good luck here, and we'll speak to you a little bit later here in this race. That was the driver of the number 29 machine, Keith Bradley. Goes by the Animal Dean, as you can see why he has a moniker. He eats up racetracks right now at the top side of the grid with Adam Newton to his inside. He'll have Blake Lothian up there, Jacob Klinkard as well, and Ted Wade. You were talking about his run, but there's that green flag in the air. Once again, lap 86 as Keith Bradley once again gets shot out of a cannon, and he launches into 1 and 2 now down the backstretch.
And for the back, here's Jacob there. You got Ted lurking in the background. You got Blake Lothian. So we could start seeing a 3 abreast so early. That's got bold and brave there, but Ted is on a rampage back through there. Jacob's trying to hold on to 10 positions. Number 5 car has gained. They're starting to spice and dice it a little bit more, friend, because they know that they're about 84 to go in this fantastic truck series brought to you by the Steve Young Benefit 170. That's going to be loosey-goosey. What is Ted's going to scrub so much speed through there? Got a little angry into the corner. The car has to somehow disagree. He'll tuck in behind, and he'll settle in P5.
Oh my goodness, you see that aggressive driving out of the 32 machine of Ted Wade. He is definitely wheeling that thing around. He is working with some new equipment, Dean, so definitely with some fresh speed. But you look behind him, though. Look at that battle.
Oh, yeah.
Between Jose Luis Rivera. Oh, man, that's crazy back there. And the caution flag waves. I saw that happen live. There was contact that sent the 20 machine sideways. And again, we get another caution on the racetrack.
I do apologize about. Well, I was drastically bumping my up on the race control here. I'm drastically bumping my mouse, and I got so excited about that. I pushed my mouse across the desk, and I was trying to regain it so I could click on that driver that made that mistake. But guess what? We have a thing called the replay system. So let's have a look what happened. Is it contact?
That's close.
Yeah, it is close, isn't it? It is not the full, almost entrance into turn 4. And frustratingly, of course, you have to sit there and wait for the rest of the drivers, get on the loud pedal, and get back onto that one. I mean, just to explain to everybody real quick, actually, Ted Wade's gone back in pit road. That's going to be very, very interesting. So it's Chris and Jose. Actually, I'm going to go to live pictures. Still on the replay. I apologize, but they went in and out pit road. Second time now for Ted. Third time now for Chris. And a second time there for Jose. But going back to that one, to explain to anybody that's never raced in iRacing a netcode, okay? Do you know specifically the details about how the netcode situation is calculated in sim racing?
Ooh, I do not. This is going to be a learning session.
Oh, this is what I've heard. No, it's what I've heard that the... I mean, it's probably better for a driver to explain that more than me, but we'll go back to this replay and have a look. It's that because, you know, you're talking about milliseconds, right, between the situations of drivers. Now, when they come in close contact, there's a certain level of simulation where it will kind of just simulate contact or so forth, or simulate where your car will be in so many milliseconds, and then it will react to it. So he, at this point right now, of Jose, might have not even felt that he actually contacted that car. But then again, the netcode could have actually determined that one. But once again, that's just comes down to motor racing. We don't know. But either way, when you are side by side next to a car, certainly this level, at some point it's going to happen. Pace truck car gets an extra point for leading most laps. Yes, the pace car does. Well, as Mr. Keith.
He is leading some laps there. That pace truck getting some moves in here in this race, as well as Keith Bradley. You just touched on it there. Dean hasn't moved from the top side of the grid. Adam Newton's done a great job of moving up there. We've seen some moving parts within the top 5, top 10. We have some big movers right at the tail end of the top 10. We look at Brandon Bullock now in the 11th position, up 15 spots. Phil Pappas in 85, he's up to 10th. Chris Simon in that 3, he's up 14 spots. Stephen Thomas in that 23, up 17, up to 8th. Robbie Richards up to 7th. Justin White 6th. Jeff Merck up there as well. Let's rock and roll for this restart as Keith Bradley, Adam Newton will get this thing rocking and rolling from Lucas Oil Raceway. Once again, Green flag in the air as Keith Bradley takes the field into 1 and 2. Adam Newton on the low side of the racetrack. Battle for third already raging on between Blake Lothian in the 43 truck and Jacob Blakehart in that 5. They'll go side by side down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Looks as though we'll stay clean for 1 lap under green so far as we count down the laps in stage number 2.
We'd love to see a little bit more green racing for sure, rather than a little bit of a caution between these, because get the drivers, get those temperatures up in the tires there and get back on the loud pedal there and keep us entertained. We're running on board right now with Robert, and unfortunately I have cursed that one, my friend. We have a caution.
Starting to rain down here, Dean. They're starting to become the preferred color of the race, yellow. And I'm surprised though, because it's not a traditional short track.
I don't want to tell you who it is, because this man's already just come off a problem here from Jose. Oh no, Jose was collected. So I wonder who it was. Was that Ted Wade that put him in the fence?
That was Ted Wade. We'll have to rewind that just a little bit there, because it looked like Ted Wade had an issue, and he'll come down on the track there, Dean, and it sets off a domino effect.
I don't like rewinding it too much, but I have to. Ted Wade's gone into pit road, but here it is. Let's have a look at Ted Wade, and here he's not. He come out of the pit road. There it is. So that's a tap. He's got to overcorrect it straight into the fence, but use that to your momentum, because you can't go any further out. But and then the other drivers come back into Ted. So at that point, you're just a passenger, my friend.
Now, what did you see there, Dean? Was it one of those iRacing instances, as we've talked about during this broadcast, or was that clear contact?
I don't know. Honestly, at that point, it's this once again. I mean, I'm used to a lot of that sort of stuff when you're talking about oval racing, and not oval racing, my apologies, road racing, because it's like you're not as close in road racing, so little things like that when they go side by side through corners. But in oval racing, it's so precise and so close. It's so different. It's so hard I can't judge on that one. It's up to everybody to let me know about drivers and things like that, because they look at those reports, they file on there, and how hard it is to get the vision out of this car. Just have a look at the cockpit right now of what a driver sees. That's what you get. I mean, obviously they can adjust some of that. They'll have mirrors they may be able to see. They'll have some drivers driving virtual reality. They'll adjust that. But you still only have a limited vision. You have to trust in your spotter. They'll be yelling in your ear, going car left, car right, blah, blah, blah. But the spotters are going to tell you how precisely close they are, and what is the rear end of your car just taps the rear end of the other car, because they are sliding out of these corners because it's such a short track. You have to get your rear end out loosey-goosey a little bit. Go speed, show speed.
You absolutely do, and I love that blind move where you have to throw that tail in front of the nose when you come off a corner to throw blocks, or whether you're coming low side and you have to come up high to the racetrack to throw a block as well. It's that vision aspect that these drivers are working with. You really don't see anything, Dean, so a lot of these moves that you see these drivers make are gut decisions. They're split-second decisions that you really don't see until it's happening on the racetrack. And what we've been seeing so far, though, Dean, is that 29 machine put on a show here at Lucas Oil.
Yeah, and at this point, it might start frustrating Keith a little bit. Keith Bradley leading this race, essentially the whole time. You're going to allow one of those other cars to come back on through. The pace car will do that, not him. And he's probably going, come on, I want to challenge. I want to race here. We're getting a couple of laps under here on green, and then we're going back to caution. He's, done a fantastic job. He's started on pole. He's leading this race. Every other driver behind him's made 3, 16, and 10 gains. He wants a challenge. So come on, boys, step it up a notch and bring it to him.
Here we go. Just a few laps remain in stage number 2. Will Keith Bradley get out the brooms and sweep the stages at Lucas Oil? Or will somebody else claim those precious bonus points? We'll wait and see as the green flag is in the air once again. Keith Bradley with another great restart into 1 and 2. Adam Newton on the low side of the racetrack. Jeff Merck is up there. Where did he come from in that 60 machine? He's now on the high side of the racetrack to the outside of the 82 machine of Adam Newton, who gets loose loose into 3 and 4. Saves it, though, as we're off the corner. Keith Bradley leads us into 1 and 2.
Yeah, this time around they put a little bit more caution onto Keith, aren't they? So Keith didn't get the absolutely fantastic launch. So 5% at the moment is going to bring it here to Adam. And Jeff's tucked in behind there in P2. 17 positions gained there for the 60 machine. He's risking it for the biscuit. He's pushing it like mad. In fact, he's probably been the closest driver so far we've had in the untouchable Keith Bradley territory. And then Keith just goes, what? What did I just hear? And then all of a sudden he just manages to take the perfect entry and exit out of the corner. And just builds a little bit of a gain up there to say, all right, nobody's challenging me. I've got this one in the bags. I'm taking it home. Let's have a look further back.
I think for me, though, Dean, I think maybe the 29 machine was sort of like Ricky Bobby coming across the radio asking where the Frenchman is. Where's the Frenchman? Where's the Frenchman in this race? I think he knew that the 60 was coming eventually here, as we only have 2 laps remaining in stage number 2. Now that he's on that rear end, let's see if that changes the momentum out of that 29. But we watch this battle here at the close of the stage between the 5 machine Jacob Klinkert and the 43 machine of Blake Lothian as we get the 1 to go in stage number 2.
43 is going to go up the inside. Not too close on the inside. He's going to just sit there and scrub the speed off there. Force really Jacob into the wall. Jacob's like, I don't mind the wall side. The wall side's the fastest side at the moment on this track, but they're going to go side by side through here. It's going to be all about who's bold and brave. Look at the rear end sliding out of the corner. The slightest little straightaway, the only little straightaway you're practically going to get on this track, as they're going to continue to go around left and left on 106 of 170. We have 65 and change to go upfield there. You still have Jeffrey keeping, and we have another caution that's just been waved. And I have no idea.
Flag is out, and I believe that is the stage break, Dean. Right there.
Oh, okay.
That is the stage number 2 completion. Yep. As Keith Bradley does indeed sweep the stages here in the Steve Young Benefit 170. Impressive run right there. As our top 10 in that stage will be the 29 machine of Keith Bradley, the 60 of Jeff Merck, 82 machine of Adam Newton, Jacob Klinkert, Blake Lothian, Justin White, Chris Cinnamon, Phil Pappas, Robbie Richards, Steven Thomas inside of that top 10 as they all elect to head down pit road here, Dean. And this is where you were talking about. This is around the 70 lap range. Let's see, we're looking at around 105. See how long they can push the second window to.
And find about that one after our short commercial break, so please do not go anywhere. We'll give the drivers a little bit of a breather for a second to pit road, and we'll give you all a bit of a breather. All the drivers essentially going to pit road, as you said. So keep your eyes peeled. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back soon.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We just saw the conclusion of stage number 2. Keith Bradley is going to sweep the stages here. It's going to leave us with just in the remainder of looking at around 60 laps to go. My name is William Tiller. Here tonight I'm joined by Dean Hopton. And Dean, this is your very first race with us. What are your thoughts so far as we creep up towards the end of this race?
Sorry, mate, partner. Yeah, getting all excited at the moment there. As this fantastic race is continuing at the moment. Chris now has elected to stay out there, leading there from James, Kyle, but they have yet to make only the one pit stop. Well, then Jeff back there in P9 at the moment has made 4 pit stops. His team's going to start getting sick of him in a minute. What are you doing? And our race leader before, well, there's Keith. So this is going to be the first time you're going to see Keith not in the command of the race, but at the moment what you're going to see is Chris, the Canadian, and the only Canadian on the grid in command of this race, ready to get the green to go for the remainder 60 laps that we have here.
Mix of old and new equipment there in this field, but it will be Chris Cinnamon taking the drop of the green flag. He rockets out of the outside into 1 and 2. You see Kyle Hess, Raul Meza right there looking down. You also see James Morris. They're on that old equipment, though. We'll see how long it takes for that train to start rolling around the bend as we come off of forward. Chris Cinnamon, our race leader. Oh, big pile up, though, into 3 and 4. Big pile up.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of drivers involved in that one. I'm not quite sure who started that one. Could even been the Australian Thunder from Down Under. And has it caused anybody else to be involved? Well, yes, it has, because let's have a look at this one. So currently at the moment, we're looking at Jeffrey. I think they've come together, if I'm not mistaken here. So keep an eye on the 20. And, oh, no, there's somebody already around it already.
Oh,
Jeffrey
no.
just had to stop at this point.
There's the 29 of Keith Bradley. We'll have to see. You know, these are all guys that headed down pit road last time. Does the 29 machine occur any damage here? These are all very fast trucks, Dean, that we saw running inside of the top 10.
Oh, 81.
Oh, no. We saw a glimpse of it right there. We'll have to check it out once again. It
Was it
does
Ted?
look like he gets collected.
Ted was 81, wasn't it? It's Taylor.
Folks, the 29 machine of Keith Bradley, who swept stages 1 and 2, he might be collected in this.
I think he was too. You're absolutely right. So
he was collected in this on the top side of the racetrack just before what we were watching with everybody getting loose. The 29 machine, and we'll watch it right here.
It's going to go to the 29 machine. What was the 29 machine?
Right there, we'll see what happens as we're watching. This is a great shot here. Into the corner. What happens to our stage 1 and 2 winner? Does he get loose? Does something happen here? Ooh, we see a nudge from the 81.
Yeah.
He tries to come back down on the racetrack, and there's contact made. Man,
that
Dean,
makes
that's
everybody else go loosey-goosey at that point, isn't it? Once again, we see the eager after the green flag conditions under another caution here at the moment there for the Steve Young Benefit 170. Now, I'll actually put the number 3 machine of Chris back up into the lead of this. Well, first time he's led this race there from James Morris and Paul. Now, if there are less pit stops than a lot of the other drivers haven't elected to take tyres, they now could go, well, give me some more cautions. There's 55 to go. We can bring these tyres home.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those strategies there. We've seen mixed strategies throughout the board. And here in tonight's race, the Steve Young Benefit 170. This is a special series here, Dean. This is the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. And here in tonight's race, we want to highlight one of those folks in need that the Concerns of Police Survivors help all the time. And here tonight, that's Mr. Steve Young. Steve Young was a U.S. Marine, a lieutenant in his local volunteer fire department, and presently a correctional police lieutenant in the state of New Jersey. He was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that has spread to his pancreatic or aortic lymph nodes. Steve was not given very good prognosis, but is fighting for his life by accepting all treatments. Steve is a single parent of 2 children under the age of 18. We're kicking off the fundraiser for Mr. Steve Young with tonight's race. We're doing another fundraising event for him tomorrow afternoon. For more information on how you can help, we invite you to go over to Nazareth Racing right now. That link on how you can donate to the Steve Young Fund is there for you here tonight again here in the Steve Young Benefit 170. But let's kick it off once again as Chris Cinnamon roars the field across the start-finish line into 1 and 2. He leads the way as we're counting down the laps here. Oh, we're wrecking though into 1 and 2.
Already at the moment because they're all eager to go for it. And they're going to have to back off at the moment because we have another caution. And just like that, my friend, just like that, these drivers need to calm down a little bit there. And think of the benefits that are happening, of course, while they're keeping everything entertained. And let's have a look at what exactly has inspired in front of your eyes. Talked about the caution here this evening. So they're bunched up, of course, 2 abreast, and that's it. 23 goes up the inside apron there, and guess who's involved again? That's the 20.
Magnet.
That's the 23, isn't it? It just goes like that. Ted Wade, just there. At the wrong place at the wrong time, and there's Teddy. A little bit more steady, Teddy. Not too much Teddy can do with this one, because have a look at that one. And at
That's
this
a
point,
good one. I like that one.
yeah, look, bingo, bang, into the middle of that, and yeah, nowhere to go at that point. And as you'd mentioned there for the Steve Young benefit, well, obviously the man's given so much for his country and so much for his family, so everything you can possibly do to help out one of the most admirable people that you can have in this beautiful country, in this beautiful land, and I'm sure his family would much appreciate it. He wants to see his kids obviously grow up and do all the hard work and everything he's delivered for his family, so everything you can possibly do will definitely help out the Young family, so contribute when you can, please. And all the details and description should be there in the link there. If not, shout it out in the chat and get something else sorted out for you. So, Will, how has this race been panning? Now, Chris up in the lead there by 22 positions gained. He's got James D. Morris there in the 84 machine tucked up behind him.
This is a confusing one for me here, Dean. You know, we're coming off a few weeks where races made sense to us up here in the booth, you know. Really with the stage pitting and the pit windows and the strategies, everything sort of made sense at the end of the race. Here in tonight's race, nothing's really making sense to me. I think these drivers are coming out to Lucas Oil 1 week before the All-Star race, trying some different things out, because stage number 1 was pretty different. You had nobody pit at the end of the stage. You had a few guys pit. When they did, you had issues out of that group. At the end of stage number 2, you had majority of the field head down, but it was a bit more chippier there in stage number 2. So now here in this run, how far do we go now that we have a mix of drivers with old equipment? You're looking at Chris Cinnamon on last time down pit road was lap 70. And new equipment, looking at Jeff Merck last time down pit road was lap 107. So it's a very tricky, mysterious race to me here, Dean, and I'm interested to see how this plays out. Are we going to go green flag racing, or will we have more caution flags down the stretch? And I think all of that really plays into how this race will end.
Yeah, 49 to go. I'd have to pretty much put a bet on there that you'll probably get another caution because drivers will get even more eager as the race will get into its dying stages of laps. What do you think out there in the chat as well? How long can they go? A bit of a green. And you mentioned that Mr. Jeffrey in the 60 machine in the Ford. Now he's once again exhibited pit road down 4 times overall in the early in some incidents, but he has the freshest boots in town. If he didn't change his tires, he said fuel will be over the end anyway, so he could be looking to put pressure on the front too. See how it pans out. Once again, we all know the pace car's probably led more laps in this race, but guess what? Pace car's peeled in, and we go in green racing again now. So the Canadians leading all the rest of the field. The United States of America with 1 Aussie.
Let's rock and roll here to this restart. Chris Cinnamon and James Morris there at the top. Chris Cinnamon in the 3 is gonna let him loose. across the start-finish line. Green flag is in the air. Chris Cinnamon will prefer the top side lane as we're going to ride on board with that 3. Jeff Merck already in the mix up there, slicing and dicing his way to that second spot. You see him already starting to put pressure on our leader as guys are looking like it's too fast, too furious cars all over the racetrack. As Jeff Merck will look here. No, he'll go right back behind the bumper of the Chris Cinnamon. No, he'll look to the inside in 1 and 2. Battle for the lead. No battle at all as he says ole as he goes running past the 3 down the backstretch.
Yeah, it does look like Chris, I think he gave it up a little bit too much, or he's sort of worried about his tyre situations because he knows he has a little bit to go. But further back in the field, look at this. It's brewing up a big time here in one of the motorsports cities, capital of the world here. The mini truck there at Indianapolis, and look at this battle that's occurring. You got Cody, you got Justin, you got Adam. A couple of Toyotas mixed there with a couple of Chevys. That doesn't really matter at this point, isn't it? It's whether what the cars are pretty evenly balanced. It's more about how you're going to keep that on the track and keep it away from the fence.
Yeah, for Michael McKinnon there in that 13 machine, we saw him involved in some of those early cautions. Now he's up to 7th, up 24 spots since the drop of the green flag. He is moving through this grid, and as I mentioned, Dean, to kick off this race, it was early. I had some early issues here, some spins, some guys spinning by themselves. It's a deflator. Yes, you're going to lose some spots on the grid, but you're still in the race. No damage to that truck, and for a lot of these guys, they are still in the fight as things are getting just a tad bit chippy here. Lap 128 around the corner down the backstretch.
And we're seeing 3 abreast here as well, too. As I said, we saw at the very, very start of the field, and it is getting chippy. At least they got a couple laps under the sleeve right now to get the tire temperature up there. Starting to get a feel for the track and the conditions as it cools down a little bit here in the night time.
Whoa!
And this is going to be great racing. 129 of 170, 42 to go. He's going to risk it for the biscuit. I wouldn't risk it for the biscuit, just too much to say. It's get into your positions there. You do need those other cars around you. You need to trust them. Look at that little tap at the moment there from Mr. Richards, and he will slot back in there. Scrub a bit of speed. Further back of the field, we have a great, huge midfield battle that we kind of have seen a little bit before we go to the many cautions that we've had, but we're still green. Don't curse it. Let's go racing.
As Keith Bradley in that 29 machine, we are still green. That's the funny part of that, Dean. No yellow flag yet here in this run as 29 machine to Keith Bradley. He's not trying to give up in this fight. He's 3 wide back in that battle. We'll jump back up here to the top side of the grid. And Adam Newton up there in the 82 machine. He's hanging on to a top 10. He's sliding just a little bit, Dean. Wasn't too long ago we saw him inside the top 3.
Yeah, he's got to just work at this one. Just keep working and get the feel for the machine there under these conditions that are getting a little bit more difficult for some of the drivers. Of course, those tyres that like to take out just the one pit stop for the majority of them, 107 or 70 or 80 or so of the last lap they boxed. And this is where the juicy spot is to get your popcorn out there and watch this fantastic racing. But up the road there, not too much happening. You still have Jeff leading by from Chris. But this is it, the hot zone. 23 positions gained there from Mr. Morris, and he's got a bit of pressure behind him. He's got Adam Newton and also Paul. We haven't even seen Paul Messer, but Paul Messer's now coming 23 positions gained. Thinking, I can smell a podium up for grabs.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot up for grabs here, Dean. Oh, no, there's contact! Contact made. Oh no! Zach Hartwick's in the wall. Big contact there. Cody Knott in the 26 makes contact with him. The 23, Stephen Thomas. Big pile up here. Oh my goodness. And so much for those single truck accidents, Dean, because that's going to be a pile up.
It was brewing, wasn't it? It was brewing on the cards, considering how close and how tight they were battling it out. To all the replay right now of what has happened to Stephen Thomas.
Oh.
It's that apron.
And there's Wade again. Ted Wade at 32.
I know. Poor Ted. He's just everywhere at this point, isn't he? Let's run on board Ted. Have a look from his perspective of what's happened, and that's it. He had to lift off big time there, didn't he? Because of all the rebound effect, and bang again. There's a T-bone. Must like his T-bone steaks. Chris goes in to pit road. Go back to live picture, sorry. Chris goes into pit road. So this last dash for tyres. Let's have a look at it. Lift the whip. It's the last dash for tyres. Carl goes in. We got Taylor going in. We got Michael going in. So they're taking tires. I would imagine they will. Yep.
Yeah, taking some tires here, getting everything going, and we got James Morris who was involved in that caution flag. We almost had two separate incidents there. As Pappas down pit road as well in the 85, the two machine of Justin White. There's some different strategies right here. We're gonna see what that's like, what that new equipment's like. You're looking at some drivers mixed in here as well, Dean. You know, look at the 43 truck of Blake Lothian. He headed down pit road around lap 120. Adam Newton will head down in the 82 machine here in this window. So you have a lot of guys still on very old equipment. Raul Meza last time down pit road is lap 82. And then Jeff Merck, our race leader, last time down pit road was up 107. So a lot of different strategies here. I am very curious to see which one pays off.
This is what you love about oval racing. I showed the wrong wreck there. So, well, I'm just getting the information out here from Steve Thomas, but we'll see and get any other information that I'm getting from race control about that wreck. We'll go back to the green flag and then we'll have a look through what happened specifically as to which driver. Any indication of which driver I should show? Because once again, completely new.
I think it's the 84 machine of Zach Hartwick. He's going to be the one that's going to be entangled in this the worst.
84 machine is James D. Morris.
Oh, there we go. Right there. James D. Morris.
We're going to replay currently at the moment from our last race green flag restart. So there's Morris on the inside apron, scrapping a bit of speed here. Gets back, and does he tuck it in? He will. But does he get a little bit pole shaped for the 84 machine? Being a challenge to the lead of this race. You can see the livery on him. We're just looking at, once again, we're going to try to capture the action. 82, we've been called out on that one.
I've seen there was the 12 and the 26 involved in the last caution.
There's Adam here. And, yeah, speed things up a little bit here, partner. See the thing. We had about 3-4 laps, I think, of green before this all went pole-shaped, didn't we?
We'll see right here as we're coming down that backstretch. Again, we're checking out what brought out our latest caution flag. And it was a big one. It was a big pile up between some guys that were up there. We'll check out the 12 and the 26.
I think everybody's just playing with mind tricks with me right now. Just trying to see what's happening. Anyway, race control's not showing anything particular about
back to green.
What I had, we're back to green. Let's go racing again. Of course, we won't worry about that replay. Great.
Back to green now is Jeff Merck leading the way. We're trying to check out what brought out our latest caution there. Jacob Plinkart in that 5 is now behind him. As everybody is roaring here to the end of this race. Keith Bradley is in 3rd. He's found his way back up to the top side of the grid. Martin Richards in 4th. Raul Meza in 5th. Brendan Bullock in 6th. And we also see Ashley Dawson in 88. He's made his way back up into contention. And after that, you have drivers on new equipment. Ted Wade in 8th. That will set off that wave of drivers on fresh tires here with less than 30 laps to go. This is where the money is made. Dean, let's see who can survive the final 30 laps at Lucas Oil.
Hopefully you got to get some green. You get green at the moment, and then it looks like it's going to be Jeff's race to win now. Unless Jacob could do something about that in P2, but further back in the field, this is where the action's been brewing, has been brewing for the whole race, because we're looking at here. You've got Chris Blanchard, you've got Downer, Shepard. Oh, they're going to be spicing and dicing and bumping and grinding these fantastic machines around this fantastic track. It's 28 to go. They're going to get a little bit of a pushing it. Some of these drivers have got some fresh boots on that. These boots are made for walking, and they're made for walking around Indianapolis, hopefully in the right direction. Further up in the field, you still have Jeff leading there. Look at that gap he has, and then you have Jacob. But Keith Bradley is putting a little bit of pressure now. Keith Bradley, of course, was leading majority of this race, and he wants to get back up at the top right. A little loosey-goosey coming out of the exit there, but give it a nice speed there for the 29 machine. He's pushing it. He's going for it. Can he get Jacob? He's got Jacob. He's got the perfect, so that was a bold move. He wants to get back onto the top step where he was. Only problem is he's got Jeff up the road. He's got 26 laps to go to hunt him down.
Oh, and Dean, I can see the flames coming off the back of those Goodyear Eagles. There it goes once again in the corner. That thing is just motoring around the racetrack as we jump back here to Rallamez in that 37 machine, currently in that 5th spot. He's in a battle with Ashley Dawson in that 88, and wouldn't you know it, Dean, these are all the guys that are coming back here in the race. It's the year of the comeback. You see the racing stripes and all these guys inside of the top 10. And now all these guys have battled and bruised their way up through this grid as we jump back to this hornet's nest of drivers, all trying to get inside the top 10 with 24 laps to go.
This is where I got a feeling by pointing the camera, as commentators curse that something's going to blow up here at the moment. Absolutely 23 to go. This is where they've got a lot more to gain and a lot to gain, more lesson to lose, less to lose than what you have further up the field. But we have to go up further up the field because here's the Thunder from Down Under of Ashley Dodgson versus Rule Mesa. And if you want to keep an eye on that one, Rule's the 37 machine, the 88 machine. On the inside there is the Thunder from Down Under there of Ashley. He needs, basically, he's got, if you're going to go back to the days of Thunder, isn't it? He's got the Aussie, God, I remember her name at the moment, don't throw that at me. Tom Cruise, and anyway, we won't go there. But we do have a very great challenge at the moment because Keith wants to take it, but Keith has gone a little bit too greedy on the loud pedal, had to lift off. Won't cause a caution, but he'll scrub so much speed. Everyone's going to be approaching him at 1,000,000 miles an hour here at the moment. And Keith just has to plant that car somewhere safely to make him go around the outside.
Oh, you knew he was motoring too. You just didn't know how fast he was until he got up there to the 60 machine of Jeff Merck. He let it all loose there, Dean. Really just gambled everything there and then lost it. Now has to build it back up again, but he's still at the table, folks. He still has chips in front of him. As you see him, he is wiggling behind the 88 machine of Ashley Dawson. He's trying to get back up to where he was. 19 laps to go here in the Steve Young Benefit 170. We're watching all of these battles inside the top 10.
Yeah, he was throwing a bluff at Jeffrey at that one, isn't it? The race leader, and Jeffrey called his bluff at the moment and says, sorry, mate, I've got a full house here at the moment. He has a full house of cars behind him. You want to go to those poker puns, we got it here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in at the moment. We still have a motor race. We have a great motor race, 18 to go. This is now where you're going to see the drivers. Well, we'll see what sort of cards that they're going to lay out on the table here. You got to call, you got to fold, or are you going to raise?
This is where you got to raise. This is where you got to make those calls. You got to bet when it's uncomfortable to do so. You got to move around the racetrack. Because if you start to get comfortable, you start to get content where you're at right here in this race, 17 laps to go. That's probably the position you're going to finish in. Is we're going to see a 3-wide battle brew up on the racetrack here. Ted Wade, and we also see Chris Cinnamon, Blake Lothian there. They're all battling out for positions, but this is where you have to be hungry, Dean. You have to work your way up through there. You have to use everything you have left in your truck, or you're going to fade here and get a finishing spot that's not going to be all that impressive.
Especially after the work that I've been doing. I mean, Ted Wade's been also involved in the walls a lot here. I mean, other cars more than anything. He's sick of seeing a car sliding sideways and slamming into him. Chris is also battling it out. We know Chris was leading this race at some point here for the Canadian driver. He's now back into P8, actually, looking to be overtaken by Blake. Jeff's still leading this one. Further up, the Power Honda Thunder from Down Under there of the 88 machine there is trying to get past Keith Bradley after we saw Keith making a little bit of a gamble. Didn't quite pay off. We have another caution. Yeah, that made a very nice last caution. What has happened with that one? Oh, we'll find out right now. Adam Newton, unfortunately, looks like he's involved in something. And we shall check out those pictures and find out why.
You see Adam Newton there in the 82 machine on the low side of the racetrack. One of those contenders that's the struggle here. He's going to be by himself. Just another one of those instances, Dean, where it's just going to get too hot coming off the corner.
But not on turn 4 either, which is an
That's
unusual.
a new one.
Yeah. I can show you about damage to that vehicle, which might have caused that one. We'll go back to the live picture. Steve Thomas has gone into a pit road entrance, last of late boxes, perhaps, to fit some fresh boots. He's not the only one. He's got Dana there. He's got Huck Wington. He's got Adam Newton, of course, so we just saw there have a little bit of spinner where he puts some fresh boots on. Further back in the field, Jose Rivera and Joey. But Jose and Joey, a lot of damage to fix on those machines. And they're sitting there at the moment and getting the panel beaters out there, the gaffer tape or duct tape, and slapping that on there. So Jeff now has a little bit less pressure, you would have to say. 18 positions gained there for the number 60 Ford machine. And he hold off Jacob, Robert, and Keith. Now, what do you think about Keith? Keith's got to be like the, essentially, not the dark horse in there. So Keith is like, I've led, guys, most of this race, okay? Why am I here in P4? I should be in P1.
I wouldn't call the animal a dark horse in this series. I'd call him maybe the hunted in this series, Dean. Keith Bradley, he won not last week at Talladega. Of course, that's a race that can really be anybody's race at the end. But he won at Rockingham week number 8. He wins at Kansas week number 6. He won at New Hampshire in week number 3. Now we're here in week number 10. 3 wins on the season for the animal. Trying to go for number 4 here tonight. And on the flip side, Dean, Jeff Merck, he hasn't won in over 5 weeks. So both drivers hungry for a victory. That's not to mention Jacob Klinkert right there hasn't seen victory lane at all this season. We also look at Robbie Richards, who hasn't seen victory lane at all either. So all these guys inside this top 5 very hungry for a victory here tonight.
And that's the beauty of oval racing compared to the road racing background I come from. Like, you know, usually you're not going to say the driver in P5 is ever going to win a road race track with only a handful of laps to go, because of the fact that, you know, it's so hard to overtake it on most road tracks. But in this case of an oval, it is easy to get a good dive on there. How are you going to handle your cold tires? Because you're going to have cold tires, because we probably have 10 to go, give or take. Jeff's going to have the pressure, and Jeff's got the advantage once again. We've seen that of getting a great restart. If Jeff could do that, he's basically purchased himself a couple of laps of a breathing space before he gets under attack there from Jacob in P2 and Robert and Keith. And if anything, what would you be feeling about the powerhouse, as you said, of Keith Bradley? Like, if you had other drivers around him, take that out of your mind. Wouldn't ignore the fact of how brilliant his performance has been this season, and just race your own race and see where you can get ahead of him, finish ahead of him, and how you gonna go. Podium's up for grabs. That's the key. Could Jeff be the first one? Is he foaming at the mouth for the number 60 Ford machine?
We'll have to see. 18 spots from the drop of the green flag. He'll take the green flag here on this restart as the field goes roaring into 1 and 2. 9 laps to go in the Steve Young Benefit 170 as Jacob Klinkart still trying to hold on to that second spot. Robbie Richards in that 48 machine. He's putting pressure on him. There goes Keith Bradley, as you were mentioning, right there in that 4th spot. There's a battle for 5th, though, side by side. Ashley Dodson, Raul Meza, as we're 1 lap under green into 1 and 2.
8 laps of hopefully a great sprint race. We're only going to see a 3 abreast a couple of times at the moment. There's the Thunder from down at 4 positions gained there. You got Raul Mesa in there. Keith Bradley making an overtake, so he's up in a P3 at the moment there. So he managed to get Robert Richards. He's got not that much time to go. 8 laps of a short track is a lot to catch up to Jacob. Jeff's still up in the lead by a mile, you'd have to say, when it comes to truck racing. He's practically all over the next state at this point. He'd be easy peasy to get this one as long as he doesn't make mistakes. But it's all about the other places up, podiums in there. P4, P5, P6, P7, it's all there. Who wants it? Reach out and grab it.
Yeah, this is that time where you take what you want. You can't be complacent. Everybody's rubbing shoulders with one another. Keith Bradley, Jacob Klinkhart as they battle it out for that second spot. Oh, as they almost make contact there, Dean. This race is coming to the end. 6 laps to go as Jeff Merckx coming off of 4. He can see this out of his rear view mirror. These two can scrap it out all they want. I know the animal's not going to like that shove out of the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkhart. No, he doesn't. Oh, my goodness. Oh no, as he comes up and makes contact with the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkhart.
Oh.
That's going to be a wreck here. It's going to send us into overtime with the Steve Young benefit 170. Man, Dean, I know what we saw there, but it's hard to describe up here in the booth. There was contact made between the 2 drivers, and then it looked like it just boiled over, if you will.
Yeah, you knew it was kind of going to happen at that point, didn't you? It was going to be. It's just going to give Jeff a little bit more of a smile on his face, and I wonder what Steve Young will be thinking right now at the moment, sitting there watching this one, going, "What is going on, gentlemen?" Well, Jeff has potentially a nice race win in the bag here. I wasn't getting a nice launch there. Ashley, what? Yeah, Thunder down that making his way back up there, just seizing the opportunity from the other driver's mistakes. Saw that little bit of a replay of that. I don't really have much information specifically from race control, but race control just like, yeah, it's just not a racing incident, it's not a caution. It's going to be the key, isn't it? Like, still what happened specifically. That was the accident off the road, wasn't it? Right there, earlier.
Yeah, there was some contact between the 5 and the 29. And there was some bumping going on there, some elbows being thrown. I don't think the 29 maybe liked that contact, came into the entry of the corner where the 5 machine was. Jacob Klinkhart made the second contact. It's just rough to see here. I know the 29 machine is one of the best drivers out here. But you'll see it right here, Dean. There's initial contact on the 5, hits him. Okay, you could say this is a little bit coming down the racetrack here. And you'll see it here right there, comes down.
There's a slide
one
into
of those.
him. Yeah, there it is. Maybe, no, actually wasn't there.
You're going to see contact's going to be made. It's right there.
Yeah, now on the inside apron's got nowhere to go, but straight out into the fence. Now actually got him bitten off on that one.
Right there. See, that's where the 29 doesn't like it. They're going to come into 3 and 4. They're going to be okay here. Still not liking what happened on the backstretch. Going to come down the front stretch. You see the bump right there off of 4. That's where the 29 really didn't like it.
Yep.
And then there's contact made in 1 and 2, which is going to end both the 29's night
that's the interesting
as
one
well
for Stewart's,
as Jacob Klinkhart.
Yeah, that's hard to call. That's hard to call. And at that point, now you'd have to say that's just the last chance that Keith. I wonder if Keith is just furious. I mean, I was talking to you before in the green room about. I wonder if he's like up this to his engineers and everything like that in race control, whatever, because he's giving it everything to get back up onto the top step there, and maybe at that point it's a little bit too much. But we have seen it before from race drivers in the Formula 1, like Max Verstappen used to be so greedy. He used to call him Max Verstappen back in the day because a little bit too overeager at certain things, and that's no offense, of course, to being too overeager. I'm not a racing driver, but you got to give him credit, haven't you? Absolutely going for it. Well, anybody to go for it, run out 3 laps to go. It's up to Jeff to hold on if he wants to win this race, or does Robert want to take it? But don't you forget about that roll, and then Ashley a little bit lurking in the background. This is it.
This is absolutely it. Jeff Merck, Robbie Richards, Raul Meza, Ashley Dotson, they'll go thundering across the start-finish line into 1 and 2. This race is rolling down to the end as you see if the 60 machine can lock it in, or will the 48 have something to say. 37 machine of Raul Meza, he's trying for a great finish here, Dean, as we come off of 4 here down the front stretch. Jeff Merck still leading the way.
Yeah, I think Jeff's got this one. As long as he can keep it, you got so much of a gap up the road there. Not even showing Jeff in the pictures because the battle actually is brewing up for the final podium position. And that's going to be the key, isn't it? It's going to be between 37 and 48. But at this point, Jeff has practically got the seal done and delivered, and he has got it. And that will be the checkered flag coming up for Barney for the last time. It's all about those race starts, and those legends have been doing it. There it is.
Jeff Merck, the 60 machine, will take home the checkered flag and the Steve Young Benefit 170, his second win of the year, his first in 5 weeks. The 60 machine advances 17 spots. It's the drop of the green flag, snatches that checkered flag, and boy, what a way to cruise into that all-star break with a huge win here at Lucas Oil.
Now, if you do a little bit of a burnout course to celebrate that one, but the Lucas Oil Raceway right in front of the fans that will jam-pack this stadium, and he will actually do a victory donut, and he well deserves it, because if you go rolling back into this one, probably about halfway through this race, you probably wouldn't even put your money on Mr. Jeffrey to take this one, but Jeffrey always believes in himself, and he got the race victory. Amazing job. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff Merck, there's power rankings here at Nazareth, and you talk about which driver is at the top. We look at Jeff Merck's performance just in this series alone, Dean, before we check out those official results. He's going to have 10 starts, going to have 2 wins now, 4 top 5s, and now 6 top 10s, putting forth an excellent performance so far here in this series. But with that race victory comes official results. Let's check them out as Jeff Merck is burning it down. Jeff Merck, our race winner, with Robbie Richards coming home second, Raul Meza third, Blake Lothian fourth, Ashley Dotson fifth, Chris Cinnamon in sixth, Justin White in seventh, Taylor Peacock eighth, Michael McKinnon in that 13 gets the top 10 finish here tonight, and Kyle Hess will round out our top 10 in the 86.
And the rest of the drivers on the grid, of course, yeah, I have a lot of the other drivers. We've got a lot of drivers on the grid here. And getting those jobs done, those performances done as best as they possibly can. We have a few more to go all the way through the field there. All the drivers, of course, had a lot of damage at the start of the races. Well, there are a whole bunch of laps down there as a set in pit road. So you got to be in it to win it. Got to give it to the likes there of Ted Wade and Keith Bradley, finishing in P17 after leading majority of the laps of our C.O.P.S Truck Series Lucas Oil Raceway.
And you see some of those guys on that second page of those results, guys that put forth second efforts, tried to get back in this race. You're looking at Cody Knott, Dennis Shepard right there, Huck Whittington in the 00. He was always wrapped up. He still finishes with a top 20. Jacob Klinkert, unfortunately, Adam Newton, one of those guys, probably going to be in the running for that Hard Luck Award next week. James Morris in the 84. So Jose Luis Rivera in that 20 never seemed to get right in this race. But great race overall here, Dean. And before we get to our top 3 finishers, we do want to remind the folks at home what this race is all about here tonight. Is about Mr. Steve Young. Steve Young was a U.S. Marine, a lieutenant in his local volunteer fire department, and presently a correctional police lieutenant in the state of New Jersey. He is currently battling stage 4 colon cancer. He is a hero and a fighter, and amongst other things, he is a single parent of 2 children under 18. Currently, this is the kickoff event for his fundraiser. If you want more information about that, head on over to our Facebook page at Nazareth Racing to how you can donate to that. But Dean, without further ado, I believe it is time to catch up with our podium finishers, and one man that I know that is enjoying his night already. He's going to kick off this fast day, this feel-good Friday, with his first victory in 5 weeks here on our Friday night, Mr. Jeff Merck. Man, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy race, but you got the victory at the end. How'd you get it done?
Yeah, a lot of luck. I feel bad about me and Keith getting together there in 1 and 2. I don't know if it was a thing about him coming up and me moving down to try to pinch him to make this drive off harder. I don't know if he washed up and I think it's a racing deal, but I don't want to say because I hadn't watched the replay yet. I just want to apologize to Keith first. I don't like winning them that way, but I will take it. That's for sure. It was a lot of tire strategy, a lot of trying to get out front. Keith was definitely the class of the field tonight. He was definitely the faster truck. I think his luck was just a little worse than mine there at the end. And I looped it on new tires, trying to cut under some of the slower cars earlier in the race. But I was in the right spot, right time. Was the first one to take a checkered flag, and that's all that counts.
Jeff, I think you just touched on it there. A handful of different strategies here tonight. I'm joined with my new colleague here, Mr. Dean Hopton, and I was telling him about some of these races can be predictable. Stage one can be that experimentation. You take some notes, you apply that towards stage two, and then you take all of that and apply that towards the end of the race. It seemed like you guys here tonight, strategies were all over the board. Did you sort of see the same thing on the racetrack?
Oh yeah, they were people on old tires, people on new tires. I know I come in a couple times when I was getting damage fixed when I looped it there, and the car actually rotated better on old tires with full fuel in it because you got more weight in the rear and the tires are worn a little more, so it rotated a little better. So yeah, there were strategies just all over the place. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think Keith Bradley could have stayed out on his original tires, just took fuel and still been faster than everybody on the track. It was crazy how fast he was on old tires. But again, I want to go back and watch the replay. I'm sure I'll go over there to the channel where he's at and we'll watch it and see what was what.
He had a bit of a dust up after. I wouldn't say the U2 had a dust up, but he did have some issues with the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkart towards the end of this race. But Jeff, I wanted to ask you though, past the racing action, we're heading into the All-Star break next week. We've already reached week number 10. Currently, you're second in points, 2 wins, just behind that man you were mentioning, Keith Bradley. To this point in the season, how you feeling so far? I was afraid that some of these drivers may have been overlooking this race here tonight, but it looked like you were locked in and getting your second win of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I could be a little more, I don't know, lackadaisical with my driving style because the simple fact is I already have the win under my belt and I'm already locked into the playoffs. So I can take a lot more risk. A lot of the guys that can't, that doesn't have the win, and they're more worried about points. But you should never take any race for granted. I mean, I'm a racer at heart. Yeah, I don't have the money to do it in real life, but so that's why I'm on this simulator. So, you should, drive every race like it's your last, get out there and drive the wheels off of it and always try to put your truck in victory lane. That's my motto.
Absolutely, and you've done exactly that here tonight. Jeff Merck, the driver in the number 60 machine. And Jeff, before we let you go, is there anybody you wanted to shout out or any sponsors that helped put that 60 machine in victory lane here tonight?
Yeah, first and foremost, my loving wife. I know she's inside watching the broadcast. This wins for you, baby. I love you. Thanks for letting me do this as my hobby. Looks like Dan's Heating and Cooling on the hood. We got Blanchard's Towing. Nazareth 360 always putting on a great broadcast. Always love going back and watching it. What the hell is excuse my French. Brady for putting this on. He does it's a great league. Brady LeBouf. Over the Top Designs, John Hendrick. He does a great job painting these trucks for Upfront Motorsports. All my teammates over at Upfront Motorsports. Blanchard's Towing. If you're up in the Northeast and you're stuck out in the snow or stuck in a ditch somewhere, call Blanchard's Towing. He'll give you a call. C.O.P.S, first and foremost. Always C.O.P.S against something. What's the C.O.P.S stand for again?
Concerns of police survivors.
They are concerns of police survivors. My whole wife's family is police officers. I just never can remember the acronyms for it. So if you see a cop out there pumping gas, doing something like that, walk up, shake his hand, and tell him you appreciate what he's doing for you. That means more to him than you know. So, and that's everybody. On to the next one.
There we go. Well, the winner here tonight of the Steve Young Benefit 170, Jeff Merck, and that 60 machine. We appreciate it, my man. Congratulations from us here in the broadcast booth. Can't wait to see you back on that truck next week. Have a great night. Have a great weekend and go celebrate.
All right, bud. Thanks.
That was our winner here tonight, Dean, but I believe you're catching up with our second place finisher, Mr. Robbie Richards, in that 48 machine.
Yeah, Roberto. Robbie Richards, you got a copy, my partner.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, congratulations, my friend. You got a podium position there, 9 positions gained. How was your race?
Unexpected to finish second. I'm not that great here. Spun out once, went to the back, try to play a little bit of pit strategy, and I guess you could say overlap them or flip flop it, whatever you want to call it, and get back to the front. And once I got up here, I knew it's hard to pass here, so I was able to maintain and keep it up here and stay out of trouble. Although I did hit some people who did wreck in front of me. It didn't damage me enough to where it would kill it, so maintaining good positions and keeping it strong.
It's called the motor race, and yeah, of course you get a big grinding it out a little bit there with the other drivers at the moment. So you took 3 pit stops, I believe. The last lap was on you took that last opportunity on the caution, hit a box on lap 174. How are the tires feeling during the majority of the race?
I never really knew if new tires made a difference. Some of the guys will probably tell you did, some of them didn't. I felt like it did for me, but I was burning the right rear off pretty good too, so I was able to get that extra grip after you get tires and keep the grip under control. Once I made the last pit stop under the final stage, I was content on not going back in because I was good on fuel, and I didn't have any tires left to take, so there wouldn't be no point in going in there. But tires overall, I mean, I took them at one point, and when at the first stage, and nobody else took them, and I was able to make my way up and get like a couple stage points. So I believe it made a little bit of a difference, but it's just so hard to pass here and retain the grip. And on the bottom to be able to.
Oh yeah, sorry, cut you off. Yeah, you're right. Rob, I'm not quite sure if you have a wife or a partner or something like that, but do you think at any point she'd be jealous of how many times you went out there and tank slapped the wall there?
Yeah, probably.
She'd be like, "You're cheating on the wall with me. Stop cheating on that wall."
I got it a few times. A few times. Got it qualifying. I got it raced quite a few times. Yeah, she'd definitely be a little jealous.
But at the end of the day, mate, you got to point in the right direction, and you got it pointing across the line there in that P2.
Yeah, and like I said, I never expected to get P2. I was content on running 4th behind Keith and Jacob, but they got into each other, and I just needed at that point. I knew I wasn't going to get Jeff. I wasn't even going to try to chance anything with it being as loose as it was. So, I just, I wanted to highline on the restart, and I knew Jeff was going to take it, but I thought maybe I could get lucky and he'd take the bottom again. But getting in front of Raw, I had to race him a little harder than I wanted to. But at the end of the day, I was able to hold off and get second out of it.
You did it. I'm sure Steve, for the Steve Young benefit, we'll be very proud of Steve to be watching that one as well. My last question to you before I switch it over to Will was, how dangerous was it going on the very inside apron? A lot of drivers were avoiding that. What did you feel about gambling down that low?
Yeah, I mean, it was sketchy. On new tires, it's probably was your best solution to make it work. Getting on that, I believe it was the third. Well, it'd be right above the first seam and kind of drift up a little bit. New tires, you can kind of make it work for about 15, 20 laps, and after that, you want to get back to the top and say what tires you do have left. And that's where a lot of people were spinning out. They were kind of getting onto the bottom and gassing it before you really could, and it would just whip around on them.
Yeah, partner, turn 4, right across where Barney was sitting on that start-finish line. That's when most people were getting loosey-goosey out of turn 4 and had a little bit of a self-spin more than anything. But it's been a pleasure. You want to shout out to anybody there, Robert?
Yeah, I want to thank Concerns of Police Survivors, the guys for coming on here. Steve Young, I know this was for him. All this race was put on for him. Just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Want to thank you guys here doing the broadcast, Blanchard's Towing. I want Keith for helping me out as much as he could. I know he didn't get the results he wanted, but uh, Sig, let's see here, uh, Blanchard's Towing. I see your butt kicker, and then Brady and all the guys that put it on. It was a fun race. Um, let's see here. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anybody. Starbase Comics is another one we need to thank, and I believe that's about it.
Family.
Family, yeah. My
Yeah.
girlfriend, she's sitting right here doing her
Oh my
doing her
God!
schoolwork.
She should have been the number one on
Yeah.
your list, my friend. Well,
Yeah,
you're
she
sleeping on the
kicks.
sofa now.
Man, dude, listen, I hear it all the time how I need to thank her and stuff and all this stuff, and she does let me do it a lot. She doesn't give me any lip on it. She just lets me do it. I think it's more because I'm out of her hair. But she's doing her homework and she's sitting right here beside me doing it and watching. So yeah,
Behind every great racing driver is the great partner that's behind him. So, yeah, congratulations there, Robert.
thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. Will,
Yes, sir.
haven't heard from you. I was just figured I'd say, I hope you're doing good. Haven't heard
Robbie,
from
I
you.
mean, it's been a minute since we've had you up here on the podium, my man. It must feel good to finally have you up here.
Yeah, I
I
know. We
mean,
done got us
you
another.
and Raul.
We done got us another guy to help you, a whole different guy to help you. You from Australia, Dean?
Yes, sir.
Or-
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not the only Thunder from down. I know Ashley that finished in P6.
I know. We
was
got
there, but
Ashley.
yeah,
We got Ashley. We got Dean. Hell, maybe we can get SVG
Yeah.
in here and do something.
I appreciate it. It's been and thank you for everybody for welcoming me to the family.
Yeah, man. Glad you was able to join us. It was I'm gonna go back and watch the broadcast. I look forward to it.
There you have it. So,
Wow.
Will, yep.
That was the driver of the 48 machine, Robbie Richards, coming home second here. Have a great weekend, Robbie. Go celebrate that second place finish. We'll see you back here next week. But without further ado, it is time to catch up with another driver that hasn't seen the podium for a long time, Dean. And we like to call this driver the bad luck magnet, or the hard luck, or all the acronyms you can use for a driver that puts forth the most effort every single week, comes out to every single race, just finds bad luck at the end of every single race. Doesn't happen this week, though, for the 37 machine of Raul Meza. And Raul, you're on the podium, my man. Third here tonight.
Unbelievable, guys. My goodness, man. It's been hard, man. These guys put on a show out there, and it's so hard to, racing with these guys. These guys bring their A game every single race, and it's so hard to get a top five, let alone a top 10 sometimes. And I'm just super super happy and excited that I was able to come out with a good solid finish in P3 here.
Oh man, it's just so happy to hear you happy, Raul. We see you in that Surf Pro machine week in and week out. Bad luck strikes. We see you in tracks that you have speed. You get up there. What led to that 37 machine being inside of that podium? Was it a pit strategy, or what played out through the race that led to that finish?
You know what, buddy? I was looking forward to a top 10 finish tonight. I had a lot of guys within the top 10. Keith and the rest of the guys were out there, and I was gonna be content with a top 10, man. But I saw a couple of guys getting into each other right in front of me, and my goodness, man, I was glad I was able to bob and weave some of those wrecks in front of me. And I can honestly tell you this, man, it's short track racing, and it got wild from start to finish. But I think that having a little bit of luck on my side for tonight paved a lot of way for me to be able to come out with a solid finish.
Yeah, that luck definitely paid off, finishing on that podium. And Raul, we head to the All-Star break next week, and then of course going to be that hard charge to the playoffs. Does this sort of put some newfound confidence? I know the confidence is there. We know the skill is there as well. Now you've got that bad luck out of the way. Does this maybe get the wheels moving in that direction?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so, man. I all I can say is that it's been great having Michael McKinnon join the team, especially on our team chat. There's a whole lot of golden nuggets that are being shared on our team chat, and even though I don't have a lot of time to be able to go back and forth with them, there's a whole lot that I take from what's going on, and I hope this right here is a real good confidence booster to be able to get it done. Hopefully sometime sooner than later.
Well, you come very close here tonight. You survived all that chaos you talked about. But third here, I believe this might be our first time doing this with each other, Raul. But with the podium finish, we love to give you drivers the opportunity to shout out anybody you have watching at home or any sponsors, especially Serve Pro, that helped you get onside that podium.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But first and foremost, I do want to apologize to Ted Wade for making contact right there, man. I know he's upset, and I would be too if I was on that side of the fence, man. So I do want to apologize for that. And uh, moving on to thanking everybody, especially you guys here, man. You guys put on a great show, man. In week in, week out, Mondays and Fridays. I do want to thank Cops for being able to join us for the Friday racing in this league. For sure, want to thank Brady, my buddy Cody. Sorry, guys, I lost you there. So yeah, I want to thank Cody for contributing everything that he does for the league and everybody else out there that I don't remember your names right now. Pretty excited for this solid finish and Serpro for sure. For coming on board as my main sponsor. Warrior Racing Esports, Warrior Wraps, Blanchard's Towing. And thank God, man, because we have the freedom to be able to go ahead and do something like this that we enjoy on Mondays and Fridays and any other day that we race as well.
Absolutely, and well said there, Raul. And you're gonna get there, man. You're gonna crack through third on the podium. You get that monkey off your back. Now, next is victory lane. But here tonight, you're on the podium. Go celebrate that, my man. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back inside that 37 next Friday night or Monday night in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Raul Meza, the driver of the 37 machine. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Will, and everybody else at the booth, man. Good night.
And on top of that, Will, you got to remember he essentially gained, I think it's either 26 or 27 positions because my telemetry went a little bit pear-shaped, and I do apologize about that. But yeah, if it is, he still was essentially, you'd have to say, driver of the day when it comes to most positions gained to get that puppy from so far back onto the podium and avoiding all those incidents and, of course, managing all those many caution flags we had.
Well, there you go, Raul. Not only a podium finish, but the hard charger award as well. You're going to cash in pretty well.
That's awesome, guys. Thanks for the acknowledgement there. Look forward to doing a lot better, hopefully sometime soon. But thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That's Raul Meza there in that 37. And Dean, as we wrap up things here tonight on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, your first broadcast with us here was at Lucas Oil, about as an American as racetrack as you can head to. No high banks, Talladega, Daytona, things like that. What were your thoughts about tonight's race? Your first look at all these drivers. What did you take away of tonight's action?
Feels like I'm back in like the outback of Australia with real hardcore, racing, like southern racing, and good hard fought racing. Like it's born in blood and born and bred in our blood in Australia. And it's born and bred in the blood here, and it's been appreciated. Like we are family, and I got all my drivers and me, and now I got my casters with me as well too. So I'm absolutely an honor to be here for the C.O.P.S Truck Series, of course, and it's an honor to do this for the Steve Young benefit because that's where, obviously, at the end of the day, all the charity donations go to, because it's an honor for that man to all what he has done throughout his career and life. And of course, we are hoping we can get Stevie back on his feet there and see his family and and enjoy the love for the motorsports. And I am definitely honored to be here.
Absolutely. And folks, if you want more information about how to donate to Steve Young's cause, I invite you to go run over to Nazareth Racing on Facebook right now. We have a donation link on our page. If you want more information about that, we invite you to go ahead and message our page as well. We'll send you that direct link through Facebook Messenger. Any little bit helps. As mentioned, we want to get him back on his feet or help his family as much as we can here again in the Steve Young race here, benefit from Lucas Oil, and what a race it was though for Mr. Young and everything that played out in tonight's event with the battling back and forth, the lead changes. It wasn't a boring race, Dean. I would have to say it came down to those last few pit strategies at the end. We had a great winner in Jeff Merck, and we had some newcomers to the podium as well, and Robbie Richards and Raul Meza. So I think for Mr. Steve Young, this is probably a great race that was done in his honor.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. And more racing will definitely continue on the best one damn racing network on the planet there. That brings everything, not only the drivers that contribute and bring this, as all the advertisers, the family members, of course, that put up with the drivers, allow them time to get in there in those cockpit and rigs and put those fastest laps in there. And it's a community. It's a love of the community. It's a support of the community. And we're giving everything back. And we love it. You love it. Right, Will? And I have to say that's it. So tune in. You get that like and subscribe so you can see much, much more of the fantastic racing. And I think that's it. Right, Will? From you and me tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to tune in on Monday night to the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. If not, we'll catch you for one of those crown jewel races. We kicked off the season with one of those. We'll have another one in our all-star race next Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, we want to thank the Concerns of Police Survivors for being our title sponsor here in this series. Go check them out at concernsofpolicesurvivors.org for everything that they do. But for all of us here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network, myself, William Tiller, Mr. Dean Hopton, we want to say congratulations to Jeff Merck for winning the Steve Young Benefit 170. We'll see everybody next week for All-Star Week here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you on the track soon.